The Square Ball Podcast.
Welcome to Propaganda, the show where we find out what's been said about Leeds United by you, by the opposition. Dan, Michael and Moscow with you. Show's brought to you by Levi Solicitors. There's a 10% discount on your legal fees. levisolicitors.co.uk/the square ball. Here in part two then, it's all about the opposition fans. What have they had to say about Leeds United? Michael, what have you got for us this week?
Not a lot.
No.
They don't do much, don't Brighton?
Nope.
Turns out. I was desperately trying to find stuff. There seem to be several podcasts, only one of which had actually bothered to record anything since the Leeds game. In trying to find stuff, I had to track down a Reddit post, which was a year ago, when someone was saying, who should I look at for Brighton stuff on YouTube?
Yeah.
Someone replied, there is quite literally zero Brighton content creators of note.
You hate content, don't you,
Which is
Moscow?
great.
And the idea of content creators.
There was that guy who we've heard from him. Was he at the Watford game in the away end and filled
Ticket tout one.
Yeah, but he'd been banned from Brighton for ticket touting. He reached a certain level of coverage, but yeah, unless they'll let him back in, there's now.
Well, the great lads at BHA together, they were the only ones I could find, and they want tickets out because they seem really nice.
Great bunch of lads.
just very polite boys.
Yeah. Okay. What have they had to say then?
This.
I think, especially in that first half, I really do think there are a few chances there where we probably could have gone in 3-0 up, and it wouldn't have looked insulting to the scoreline. Second half, I think, is a different story altogether. And I think when you come off of that second half where we've basically just sat back almost the entire half and been battered, I think at the same time, then you can definitely sway that way of like, well, Leeds did enough in that second half to score two, which they arguably did.
Battered. That's interesting. Graham Potter was really reasonable in the post-match as well, wasn't he? With his manicured beard, he looked like he was like some sort of French expressionist. Maybe somebody who carves sculptures. I think he looked like
a sculptor.
That's the one. That's the one. That's what you call him, isn't it?
The careers advisor never told me what that word was. You see,
he was pretty.
I was asking about what's that job called? Were you?
He was all right about us in the second half, but somebody tried to tell him that we'd started better than Brighton and had some chances. He's like, I don't know which chances you're talking about. And the journalist tried to say, like, oh no, Leeds started really well, and he just said, I didn't see the game like that at all. Next question.
See, I thought we did start really well by our recent standards. Probably not in the grand scheme of things, because they did have that thing where they just constantly passed into our box on the left hand side, down our left hand side, and nearly scored goals from it. So that bit wasn't going great. But it's interesting they said that we battered them second half, because I thought we were definitely better and we had chances, but I wouldn't have called that a battering. I think
we've seen the Bielsa onslaught, and it wasn't. I mean, again, this is when your frame of reference is 3 years of Bielsa. You know what an onslaught looks like, don't you? That relentless wave of pressure after pressure after pressure. So maybe this was a battering, but we're just not used to that type of battering.
Brighton are normally quite a controlled team, aren't they? I suppose. So I guess maybe they're used to there being a sort of a less of a random element than there seemed to be in this.
I mean, they absolutely dicked Man United the other week. Let's not forget.
That's Man United have given up.
But maybe we're better than we give ourselves credit for.
The three of us could have a good go at Scum. We created, so XG is, it can help us decide this. We created 2 expected goals against Brighton. Scum managed 0.8, Wolves 0.6, Southampton 0.9, City 1.
So we're better than Man City.
Brighton beat them 3-0. Have I imagined this? When did Brighton beat Man City 3-0? Am I looking at the right page? I guess I am. Strange things have happened.
I don't remember it, I have to say.
The last team to get more than 2 XG against the Seagulls were Tottenham, 2.4. So, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 games between those two. So we're the first team to give them a good doing in quite a while. And there were Joffy's shot that Sanchez, who is a really good goalkeeper, didn't even dive for, was really close. I'm surprised that Dope didn't move, and I wish he hadn't moved for Rafinha's free kick.
Has Rafinha scored a free kick this year?
They all hit the bar.
He's come very, very close, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's really annoying. And then Click's shot as well. Like, it's a while since Click's had such a good effort, but at the end of the first half, that was a really good save. And then there was Rafinha on Rodrigo's pass that went just wide. Sanchez stopping Click's other shot on target after Harrison had a shot that was blocked. So
were we great?
We weren't great, but in terms we managed to. I mean, it's maybe if we're talking about Marsh ball a little bit and what he wants.
We've been unfair to him, Moscow.
It's the it's not the flowing kind of press, all out pressure and battering of what Bielsa would do, but you create these chances by seizing on mistakes and rushing in and making things happen that way. So and that's not for a second half as well, considering I've not got it divided, but we really didn't. Now I suppose actually no, a lot of the XG when I looked at the shot map, it's Joffy hitting Cooper in the face is a big part of it.
Does Cooper get XG for that, for hitting him in the face?
Good.
Well, I'm being serious, because if it's just about touches on the pitch, isn't it?
Expected gob.
Could that be that he should have the XG model? Does that think he should have just nodded it in from there? I've no idea how it works.
It depends which XG model you're using, and I think that if your XG model counts Liam Cooper's contribution, there is a chance you maybe need to close Excel.
Just slipped into a coma when you started talking about that. Then,
well. Anyway, poor old Cooper's face. Change your models to account for that.
Yeah, I've just looked at sofascore.com and they do the momentum graph, the attacking momentum graph, and it appears we did have some good spells of pressure, particularly early in the second half. Then they got us on the back foot again. Then we went into the ascendancy for the middle part of that half. I'm getting into really weird fractions now. And then a very late spell, which seemed to be quite rewarding for us. Probably about 50-50 that second half. I don't know, maybe is it as Jesse Marsh says, the pressure of the moment that means that we're perhaps underestimating the balance of what these games are like, and we're absolutely filled with existential dread whenever Leeds concede goals or the game goes against us a little bit, versus what would be like if we were in mid-table, for example.
I think it's that we had 3 games of absolute garbage before this, so
Fair enough.
Everything's just was in the bin at kick-off. And so we're looking at the improvements in the second half. So there is probably an aspect of. It's why the first person on propaganda was saying that we were a bit negative at the end of the game. And it's that feeling of well, we're still not very good, but yeah, there is a big improvement in that second half. And there was a big improvement straight away. The fact that Joffy was hitting Liam Cooper in the face in their penalty area was probably the most attacking thing we'd done for 3 hours of football. So we did start better and ended much better.
What else did BHA Together have to say, Michael?
They thought we deserved the draw.
Fools!
They're obviously fighting for their survival and what they're trying to do, and it turned into a really scrappy game, which doesn't suit us at all. We, like you guys have been saying, we like to be in control. We like to be able to dictate and be proactive. For the last 65 minutes of the game, for the majority of the game, there's this huge open play of to and fro's and going from one end to the other. It doesn't suit us. I mean, our defense is incredible, and we know that. Obviously, Sanchez was counted on a few times today to make those saves when needed, and he did really well. But yeah, you can't take anything away from Leeds in that respect. There will be people that didn't watch this game and saying, Leeds are lucky to get a draw and stuff just because they scored in the 91st minute, but that second half was so open, and the amount of defending and saves we had to do because we invited that pressure and we allowed it to become a scruffy game, means that a draw is about right for me.
That does put a slightly different slant on it in my eyes. It's interesting.
Are we that reasonable when we concede a late goal? They're like, well, yeah, I suppose on the balance.
It strikes me that the issue of control, they're normally very controlled and measured at Brighton by the sounds of it. What's that job again? What was it? Sculptor?
Yes.
Good. Graham Potter likes to be the sculptor, chipping away at his little block of marble.
Do you mould Potter if you're a potter? Anyway.
Yeah, he's not a sculptor, he's a potter.
But sand it is
different thing.
Do you sand it down? Presumably you sculpture when you're doing it, when you're chipping away a block of marble.
You put it on a wheel and get your hands wet, and then the ghost turns up.
Right, okay. And then sanding it down, carrying on, pouring a bit of water on it. Do the next bit.
That's a reference to the famous film.
Yeah.
Potter.
Yes. But we turned it into a scrap. We made it a mud bath.
Rash.
A marble mud. I know we're confusing two different career paths here, but his sculpting / potting turned into, it was a bit of a mud wrestle, wasn't it? Which, not a bad thing, always.
Not necessarily, no. I wouldn't want that with Marsh. Well, not Marsh or Potter, to be perfectly honest.
Both of them together?
No.
Okay.
You do get a lot of mud in a marsh.
He's right.
He is right.
Swampy.
They're giving some credit to Marsh anyway.
Okay.
And let's give a little bit of credit to the way Ted Lasso set up that team, because Leeds were very heavy on the press, especially in the second half. And that was when we say this was the difference. Leeds wanted it more, like, get rid of the cliches. They just worked very hard and pressed constantly against us, cut all the passing lanes out for a good 20 to 30 minutes in that second half, which is why you're seeing this terrible pass accuracy. The first half was lightning. It was very quick, just quick counter-attacking. You're not trying to play possession football. The second half, we couldn't play possession football. That's what we wanted to do. That's why Lallana came on. We just weren't allowed to. So a bit of credit to Leeds for that.
This is what the Premier League mid-table does. It turns you into reasonable idiots, doesn't it? I hate the fact that they're being so reasonable about it.
Quite like the way he said Lallana. Got a good name.
Excellent. Goes well with Fofana.
Yeah, it's interesting that they are kind of giving Marsh credit for it. Well, we were not. We were like, the players have probably just decided to do their own thing in that half, and that's why we got back into it. But I suppose Marsh's plan does involve pressing.
Maybe we just need to all get to know each other better.
Maybe so.
Maybe we do.
You can take us to McDonald's on a Sunday morning, and we'll all have a nice chat and a happy meal.
Is that it then in terms of what Brighton have got to offer? This week,
just reasonable.
It is reasonable. We're not here for reason, are we? We're
I preferred it when
lunacy.
I preferred it when we scored a last-minute goal against Wolves, and they wanted to see FIFA taken down and the whole game rewritten as a result of it. But this is just like
I mean, take this as your
played quite well.
This is your amuse-bouche before we do Brentford next week, isn't it? That's going to be fun, one way or another.
Or it won't be. Is the other thing? It might be absolutely horrible.
Yeah,
but we can.
But we'll tailor our output.
You can rely on us to be unreasonable. That's the nice thing now.
Right, let's go into the wider world of propaganda then, and some fun and games. AFTV, Arsenal Fan TV, obviously they have essentially collapsed this season. Lost like 5 games recently, haven't they? Beat us, obviously.
They beat us, after which they didn't talk about us because they were all just busy talking about top 4. It's like, it's great that we're going to be in the Champions League. It's this great young team Arteta's put together. It was all this boring stuff that I didn't even bother including because...
I'm sure Benjamin White will love Azerbaijan on a Thursday night.
Because whatever anyway. But this week they've lost to Spurs and Newcastle.
Excellent. So where are we going in then? First of all,
it's just Ty. First of all, he's kind of the chief idiot on it. I think he's the one with the strangest opinions, and he starts every question they ask him. He thanks, like, he started doing it during COVID, thanking nurses and doctors and stuff. And he's still doing it now, but he gets down to kind of postmen and bus drivers and stuff by the end of it, and you're thinking, this isn't really the question you were asked. But he was annoyed by Spurs fans, which was great.
Really, really disappointed. And even we've actually had to stop filming because we had moronic Tottenham fans coming up and talking rubbish, and I think it's absolutely ridiculous. If you've won, be happy, but don't start coming and start swearing and saying rubbish. So they're an absolute disgrace, and it absolutely disgusts me.
Look, I love this pearl clutching that's crept into Premier League football. People swearing.
Can you imagine what Arsenal Fans TV would be like if outside the stadium morons came up and started talking rubbish?
It was the joke, exactly. Yeah. The Spurs fans muscling in on their territory.
This is our act. And then we've got blaming referees.
Yes, so have a listen to this first. It's a fairly long clip, but this is because, there were some slightly dubious decisions in the Arsenal Spurs game. They weren't happy with all of them, whatever. But his the way he goes on about referees is brilliant.
Let's hear the evidence.
There is agenda against us. Some referees, some linesmen, and some lineswomen have got agendas against us.
Why, Ty? Why would they have an agenda? Why?
Well, it's a good question. Cecil, you'll have to ask them, because if I remember quite rightly, a couple of months ago, Frank Lampard, who's Everton manager, got an apology from the referee. Where's our apology? Where is our apology? Where is our apology for Eduardo getting his leg broken by Martin Taylor? Where is our apology for Ryan Shawcross breaking Aaron's leg? Where is our apology for Dan Smith breaking Vass's leg? Where is our apology? Where's our apology when we got cheated at Old Trafford and the Neville brothers kicked Jose in the air? Where's our apology when before the game Mike Riley had a record of giving nine penalties for Manchester United, not giving a foul when Rio took out Freddie when he was the last man? Where's our apology when Ruud van cheat himself, stamped on Ashley's knee in front of the linesman and the linesman gave a throw into Manchester United? It happens too much, and Mikel's come out and said now that if he said what he wants to say, he will get suspended. So it shows you he's absolutely going mad, and I just don't know. Once again, I have to be very careful what I say because I don't want to call anybody a cheat, but we have to ask the questions. Why is this happening to us all the time? I've got so many examples. I've just mentioned 3 players that had their legs broken and are no longer playing except for Aaron.
So they've got an agenda, asks for the evidence. You'll have to ask them.
And you can't say anything because they don't want to call anyone a cheat. You can do, mate. You're not a manager.
Just asking questions.
You're not going to get an FA charge against it. To go back to the 3...
Get tie hauled up in front of the panel.
Why did you say this on YouTube? Oh, he brought the whole game into disrepute. But
he's asking questions like Matt Letizia does.
To go back to the incidents he's complaining about here, the ones against Man United, he mentions the Neville brothers and Ruud van Nistelrooy. Phil Neville left Man United in 2005, Van Nistelrooy in 2006. So that's quite a long time ago. And then the 3 players he talks about having legs broken. Abu Diaby's was 2006. Fair enough, Dan Smith playing for Sunderland did only get a yellow card that day. It was a bad tackle. These days, probably get a red for it. But the Aaron Ramsey and Eduardo ones, the players were sent off for who did that. So the players did get punished. So if it was a conspiracy of referees, surely they would have not sent those players off. I don't know what more he wanted the referees to do in that situation other than just send the players off.
He said what he wanted. He wants apologies. So this is Frank Lampard's fault because Frank Lampard this season has started this new thing of if you whinge enough, then the Referees Association will phone you up and say, soz. And that apparently is the thing now that everybody has. He was at it again.
I was going to say, he's been at it again ahead of the Thursday games, hasn't he?
The weekend, the Brentford defeat, because they lost to Brentford. It's just worth reiterating, just underlining that a win would have made Everton safe, and they lost. And they had 2 players sent off, and they lost. Even though a win would have made them safe, but they lost.
Both which were correctly sent off, we should add.
And it all looked fine to me.
I mean, he even said in the post-match, didn't he, did Lampard, that he got the wrong side of him, did Branthwaite.
He wanted a penalty for Richarlison, didn't he, ahead of that? And because Richarlison, is he going to have to go down to try and win a free kick, Richarlison? I don't know if anyone. I don't know if he's aware of it.
He may have to start asking for him if he don't get some soon.
I think Richarlison has earned enough free kicks over the years that he should be allowed to be kicked all over the place in the remaining games of this season and get nothing for it.
Anyway, we're going off topic again. AFTV then after Newcastle this time, which I presume they're not very happy with this.
This is Lee, who's the one who I always think he's a Millwall fan, but he appears to be on Arsenal TV. But I think this is at 1-0 down and Odegaard has a chance to shoot and doesn't.
God, it's doing Odegaard! Shoot! What is he doing? I've had enough of him not shooting. Why are you not shooting, you
That's very EastEnders, that, wasn't it?
Yeah. Cut off there. Doesn't say what you were thinking, though.
What does he say?
Have a listen.
Why are you not shooting, you captain? Great bit of play by Martinelli, by the
way. I hope that pause survives the edit.
That was good, though, if your captain. I don't know, is your captain meant to shoot more than other people?
And was he using that, you are captain, rather than you captain? I thought it might be an insult.
Oh, possibly.
I'm lost.
It might be.
That famous put down.
Yeah, you captain.
Well, it's like people call you chief. That's sort of a bit insulting, isn't it?
All right, skipper. All right, sport, that kind of thing. Right, come on then, champ.
All right, next we've got Troops, who was someone who was kicked off Arsenal fan TV for being too much of a dickhead, as far as I can gather.
Again, low bar to clear.
He's the one that was the other week. Someone was interviewing him and he was saying he needed more credit from the club or something because Arsenal wouldn't exist without him or something.
Some wild delusional.
He's bringing Arsenal to the world.
Didn't we deal with him? He'd moved to New York, but he was sitting on a sofa in like an abandoned office.
He's still there, and you can hear on this he's like kicking shit about, and you just feel sorry for the other people there because other people are just like tidying up the stuff that he's booting around. People are like, "It's my bag, mate." Just
like an angry toddler.
Got my drink over. While he does this performative nonsense.
Fucking went on. Fucking went on side. No one said fucking pricks. Look at you, man. You fucking cowards. You play for my club. You play for our great club. Yeah? Our fucking great club. Clowns. You fucking clowns. You should fucking walk home from Newcastle. You should walk back to London. You should fucking walk back. Every fucking gooner should get refunded for their fucking ticket tonight. Every fucking gooner that travelled to Newcastle should get fucking refunded. You fucking cowards. You fucking don't care. You don't care. You don't like Henry. You don't like Vieira. You don't care. You don't get it. You don't get it. You don't get it. You never will. You ain't got the fucking minerals. Cowards. Fucking cowards! You'll never get away with me today for this club! You'll never get it!
I found that a bit uncomfortable, actually.
It's not fun, is it?
It looks uncomfortable. Other people in the room are kind of just sat like, Dad's had a drink.
What was his starting complaint there? Was somebody was played onside?
I don't know. I don't think it matters.
Because you could hear it kind of beginning from quite a low rumble. I don't know if he was off mic at the start where you just hear it's like, cowards, it's offside. The cowards, they're offside. And then he
did that thing of repeating things to emphasise the point.
You hear him coming. It's like, oh God, how long does he go on for? You just have to sit there and just listen to him shout for.
I can see why he perhaps didn't retain his position at AFTV.
I mean, there were other clips from the Spurs game of them all just talking at once again, which we heard last week. So.
Can we hear from City Extra? Because
it's much the same.
City Extra are good fun at the minute. I've been enjoying them and their sort of street mank speak.
Yeah, they went 2 down at West Ham and looked like they may be in the process of losing the league title as well as the Champions League. And this is just their way of talking. I find myself speaking to myself in my own head using some of their phrases sometimes.
Well, it was you, Moscow, who initially coined the Consuelo thing. So when I'm playing FIFA with my lad as well,
it was them.
Yeah. But I've ended up, that's become a meme between the two of us now, where we both got Consuelo. So I've got a 10-year-old speaking in this faux mank accent that you created, that they started off with.
You need to train him to be like the kid brother on this, so he's just agreeing with you all the time. Going, yeah, good point, that, yeah. I was about to say that, yeah.
Oh no, he's onside.
No.
He's onside, it's Bowen.
Oh, 2-0.
It's 2-0. Oh my God, it went straight through Edison.
Mate, is Edison just a fucking ghost there or something? How has he not saved that? He was a P-roller.
How has Edison not saved that?
2-0. We're in the mud.
We are legit in the mud.
They're great, aren't they?
As described, Moscow. We're in the mud. We are legit in the mud. A P-roller.
How's he not saved that? How hasn't he saved it? Amazing.
It's time for some words of wisdom.
Bless him.
Isn't it? From everyone's favourite lifestyle guru, all-round good guy, champ for the winners of the world. You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
I've started following Jake on Instagram, haven't I?
Was that a regretful follow?
No, I like it because it's all content.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to watch a young man so immersed in delusion, isn't it? So unbearable delusion.
They're mainly not his own thoughts. In fairness, he's like some daft person you went to school with on Facebook who just posts faux inspirational shit because they're trying to shill some pyramid scheme that they're involved in. It's the sort of thing. That's the kind of vibe I get off Jake. So he's been retweeting or reposting.
Well, he screen grabbed a tweet that he's reposted on his Instagram story.
Dr. James Dinnick is the handle on Twitter.
Yeah.
I don't know what you think of this, Moscow. You have to get up early. You have to take care of your responsibilities. You have to be honest with yourself.
Can you do this in the voice of that guy from the ITV training things that you've been doing recently?
Guys, you have to get up early. You have to take care of your responsibilities. You have to be honest with yourself. You have to evaluate your priorities. Nobody's going to do it for you. These are your goals and your dreams. Everything you want starts and ends with you.
I mean, in the sense that I have to get my own breakfast. Yes. That all seems fine. Evaluate your priorities. Well, like this morning, I knew I had a podcast to do. So it was a pretty easy decision not to just like start doing a jigsaw or something. And
Is that what you normally do?
as far as
Make little jigsaws.
as far as getting up early, I mean, I got here on time, so I don't know what else I needed to do
And
this
also,
morning.
you don't have to get up early. That's not true.
Have you written another book?
Well, nobody's asked me to.
Well, do one. Well, no.
Well, maybe I don't want to.
Everything you want. Do you want to write another book?
I mean, right now, no.
Okay. What do
But
you
I might
want?
later.
What do you want? Because it starts and ends with you.
I want people like this to leave me alone.
Hey, listen, you're chipping away at each other now. I don't think
Everything-
it's not. Listen, this is not the right way to go about it.
Everything you want starts and ends with you. You can do anything you want, Dan.
Yeah, exactly. So stay out of it.
I'm going to be...
Mind your own business.
Well, listen, I'd like to fall back on some of Jake's other words, and he's tagged at High Performance in this, which presumably is him shilling his podcast. As Jake says, a candle loses nothing by lighting another candle. So I think what he's suggesting is that you fucking torch everything. Is that what he's
Burn it
saying?
all down.
So there you go. That's Jake for this week. Great. Thanks,
I mean,
Jake.
if this stuff helps some people, maybe it does. It's just... It just doesn't really work if you think about it for even a second. That's the main...
Subjected to any critical analysis.
Yeah, because I mean, like the stuff about, you know, everything. These are your goals and dreams. You can do anything you want. Basically, is something that is often said in these things, and
That's not true, is that?
it's just simply not possible.
We live in a society.
Because popped into the LGI this last week.
Won't let you have a go.
I wanted to say, like, listen, let me have a go at that brain surgery. Just let me in. I'll wash my hands and everything. Just have a little bit of a tinker around under the hood. No.
Yeah, it's like my NBA dreams.
Yeah.
Shattered. I've written some lovely emails to people asking for a place. They won't let me do it.
Yeah, but nobody's going to do it for you, so it's good that you that you took it upon yourself.
Should probably buy a basketball first, shouldn't I? As a first step.
Step 2, get a hoop.
Bouncing it on the grass.
This is it. You've got to decide what your goal is, and then you break it down into steps that you take each day. So tomorrow, basketball. Day after that, you buy the hoop. The day after that, you buy the long shorts.
And the Air Jordans. That's
Day
the
after
easy
that.
bit. That's the easy bit, isn't it?
End of the week.
Big sneakers.
By the way, I do have a hoop for you, and it's called Jake Humphrey. Hey, there we go. That wraps up propaganda for this week. Always nice to end on a high, listening to the absolute tosh and twaddle that he peddles. Thank you for joining us on this one. We've got another one next week, the tone of which remains up in the air. But it'll be a fun adventure finding out how we get to that point, won't it?
And if you're a TSB Plus subscriber, Propaganda Extra, you've got some unhappy Chelsea fans on there to come. So that's worth listening to.
Yep, hop over there, enjoy that, and we'll see you in a bit.
The Square Ball Podcast.